Let me begin by saying I do not recommend that you do what I do. What I do is not safe, but I do it because I'm crazy and irresponsible and impatient. This would be done much better by carefully mounting the rock in a vise and shaping it with a Dremel. I do not have a vise. I do not have a Dremel. I have a ceramic saw. But please don't say that I recommended this. I have 3 rocks which I believe are sandstone. They're pretty. I like the peach color of this one, and this one is green. But you cannot, or it is not recommended that you tumble sandstone in a tumbler. But you can, I believe, polish it, or at least polish part of it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a flat spot with the side blade of my ceramic saw and then finish polishing part of it by hand. The peach colored one is too thin for me to hold against the side of the ceramic saw and not get my fingers cut. So I'm only going to do like one part of a face with it so I can keep my fingers away from the blade. I am ready to finish polishing the sandstones. I have a board, just a random board to have something solid underneath the paper. And I have the paper and the stones and my coffee and cookies. For beginners, do understand the coffee and cookies are required. So I'll begin the polishing, and I'm going to start with the 60 grit because I don't know that this is flat, what I did on the ceramic saw. So let me get a little water on here. So we want to do this wet. So I start and try to just make sure this is all flat. The process will go pretty fast with sandstone because they cut easily. I'm going to do both of these stones with the 60 grit to begin with. This one, the green one, when I cut it with the ceramic saw, I find that only the surface is green. This is actually not green. And looking at the color inside, it's the same color of chalcedony that I found on Lake Michigan. So I think I took out the defects, cut the defects out, and I am going to put this in the tumbler in my next batch, and I'll watch it carefully. Like I'll tumble it on the coarse grit for a couple of days and then see if it's held up. If it doesn't, then I'll take it out. But this may not be sandstone. And that's another thing you'll find when you're rock hounding, is stones will have a color on the surface and you think, oh, I've got whatever color that is. And then you find out that the inside is quite different from the outside. You know, you kind of get a sense for what you're picking up, but then every so often something will come up to surprise you a little bit. I've washed the stones, which you want to do between grits. Make sure you have all the larger grit off the stone. Also notice that I took a bite out of my cookie. You don't want to forget that while you're doing all of this. So now I have the another next finer grit. In this case, I'm using 220. Wet it down. And then get rid of the grooves from the 60 grit. I've cleaned the stones, and the next grit I'm using is 400. Right now they're feeling glassy smooth. I'm going to finish up with 1200 grit. There you can see it's pretty shiny, pretty smooth. It goes fast when it's sandstone. You can't tumble it, but we can make shiny parts and make some very pretty rocks.